Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is not often that I sit across people who have access to $1 trillion. Is this a good time to ask for a loan? Is this when I do it? For those who don't know, what is the job of the IMF?
Do you mind a teeny tiny bit of history?
Of course.
Okay, we just celebrated the Second World War anniversary 75 years ago.
Right.
We are celebrating our 75th anniversary as well.
Oh, wow.
Because what happened at the time, countries decided that fighting each other, killing each other was probably not the way to go. Because it all started with a bad economic situation.
Yes.
So they thought, rather than do that, why don't we set up a club, give it a lot of money, and have competent people, number one, give some economic advice, number two, give some loans in case any member of the club is not doing so well,
right.
And number three, ask them to give technical assistance. That's what we do. We try to help countries with better prosperity, and we try to help with financial stability so that the world is not going in too bad a direction.
It's interesting that you got this job at a time when the world was going in a bad direction, because you took over like basically at the peak of the financial crisis. And some people have said that's another example of, I don't know if you've heard of it, the glass cliff. You know, you have the glass ceiling, and they say the glass cliff is when something goes really bad and then they give the job to a woman. They're like, all right, you can
Correct.
have it now.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, okay,
yes.
great. Did it feel like you were stepping into a job where you were destined to fail? Because you've succeeded now, but I mean, at that moment, was it terrifying?
It was intimidating, yes. But your point is so right. Whenever the situation is really, really bad, you call in the woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And the woman did a great job. I mean, you came in. No, you've been lauded as someone who is not just apt at handling money and understanding the cause of the world, but you've moved the IMF forward. I mean, you know, the IMF was once regarded as an institution that was only dealing with African countries, etc. But recently, the IMF was bailing out Greece. The IMF was helping countries in Europe that have been struggling. When you look at the challenges the world is facing now, what do you think we need to be looking out for that could lead to the next conflict based on economics that's causing people to just, I guess, flare up in different ways?
I'll tell you what I think are the two key priorities going forward. Number one is climate change. Mm-hmm. Number two is rising inequalities. If we could fix those two things, it might significantly improve the position.
How do you begin to fix those things?
Well, I'll give you an example on climate change. Around the world, you have roughly $5 trillion that are being spent on subsidies to burn fossil fuel. This is not a good use of public finance. Instead of that, you should put that money in health, in education, in hospitals, in infrastructure.
That is a lot of money, yeah.
It is a lot of money.
But someone might say to you, yes, but they're giving that money to fossil fuel industries because they need to boost economies. Why do you think, from your experience, it's more important to be investing in social, social grants, social ideas that move people forward, like hospitals, like schools, etc.? How does that help an economy?
Well, first of all, it helps by reducing the inequalities. If young kids in all countries of the world, particularly the low-income countries, can go to school, they will be better off.
Right.
If women, for instance, can actually, instead of walking miles to get water, as is the case in so many countries, can actually access a road, a highway, and go and fetch water without having to spend all those hours.
Right.
If kids are born in hospital where there is appropriate care, then clearly they're going to be better off for the rest of their life. So by doing that, you improve the prosperity of people, not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in 5 and 10 years' time, because that's critically important for the future.
You have to have a long-term view in your job, though, because you're working with so much money and you're working with the future of countries and the world. One of the issues you've been vocal about has been the trade disputes happening right now, especially between America and China. And you actually said to both of the boys leading their countries, they both need to calm down and they need to work this out. Now, on the American side, I can't speak for China's policy, but I know on the American side, Donald Trump's argument has been they have to impose these trade policies. They have to block China because American industries are suffering and they have to impose these tariffs. How do you respond to that, and what do you think a possible solution could be for the small business owner / the industries that are feeling it, and the economy and the global economy at large?
Well, I'd say two things. One is President Trump has a point concerning...
Wait.
Yeah. Because, he has a point on intellectual property.
Yes.
It is correct that nobody should be stealing intellectual property to go ahead, to move ahead.
Right.
He has a point on subsidies. You cannot just go about competing with others out there that are being heavily subsidized. So on those 2 points, you can't either say, well, welcome in my country, but you're only going to come if you're going to transfer technology, and this is compulsory. You have no option.
Right.
So on these 3 points, clearly the game has to change. The rules have to be respected. But where it doesn't work is when you say, I'm going to raise tariffs. Because the impact of raising tariffs is not going to be on China. The impact is going to be on those companies in the United States that are importing goods from outside the US.
Right.
And the ultimate person who will bear the brunt of those tariff increases are the consumers, and particularly the low-income consumers, those who need to actually buy reasonably cheap products because they can get by with those products. And they are the ones who are going to actually suffer the consequences of tariff increases. So I'm saying to all those involved in trade discussions, we need adults in the room. You need to hear...
You need to hear...
You need to hear the economic facts, not focus on 1 or 2 numbers, but look at the overall picture and understand that if you actually do that, you're going to give a little haircut to the global economy. We've calculated that if there is tariff on the entire business between the US and China, at 25%, as is threatened, already applied on some, it's going to shave off about half a percentage point of growth. That's the equivalent of removing South Africa from the planet.
What?
Yeah. In terms of size, that's the equivalent of the GDP of South Africa.
Why did you choose South Africa? You made it personal. Wow. You are always dealing with such big issues, and I mean that it is an international monetary fund. One of the main things that you have been a driver of, one of the main issues has been empowering women, and not in a charity sense, but in a business sense.
Yeah.
You very famously had the quote where you came out and said, if Lehman Brothers was Lehman Brothers and Sisters, maybe they would have done a little bit better.
Yes.
Right? Why is it so important for countries to invest in women beyond the niceness of it all?
Yeah, I've given up on the morality and charity side of things.
Oh, you have?
No, I'll tell you why, not personally, but because it doesn't seem to impress people.
Yes.
So I say, fine, you're not impressed by that? It's a moral imperative, you're not concerned? Okay. Now, let me tell you that if, on the economic side, you increase the size of the economy, you improve the income per capita, each individual in society. And if at the company level, you actually get a better profit at the end of the year because there will have been women on the board or women in the executive team, aren't you concerned about that? I don't know yet, and I'll have to meet yet the leader of a country who says, no, I don't want more growth. No, I don't want a larger economy. No, I don't want to distribute more income.
Right.
They all want the same thing. So bring the women. If you look at the participation of women in the economy, you usually have 15% difference. If you look at the wages of women versus men, same job, same effort, you have at least 16% difference. Why is that? This is a complete waste of time and waste of energy and waste of resources. So women have to be given the same opportunities, be given the same salary, and have the same exactly rights as men.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you. Good luck at the G20. Christine Lagarde, everybody.